Hi there. Thank you for joining us for this third session of our series of info sessions for the Masters of Advanced Study in Engineering, MASE. Today we are going to be talking about the um, the two essays that are required for the application submission. Thank you. Here's our agenda. We're going to talk about the value of the statements. We're going to talk about the personal history statement, common themes, then statement of purpose. And in closing, we're going to be talking about any overarching points that apply to both these essays. And then we're going to leave the floor open for any Q&A. So let's get started. Um, Please meet our student services team. I am Janine Bernard, the Associate Director for Student Services here at the Fung Institute, which is managing the MASE. And then we have our Senior Admissions Officer, Mars Rivas, as well as our Student Affairs and Academic Advisor, Maritzi Perez. We are your trusty team and can help with any questions that you may have. And you may be asking yourself, what is the value of the personal history statement and the statement of purpose? Well, we'll get right into it. So your personal history statement. So for both essays, the suggested length is 1,000 words or less. And it is very important that you be clear, concise, and relevant. You have only 1,000 words to communicate what you need to. And so that is why it's important to be clear, concise, and always relay what you're saying back to kind of your thesis, right? Why this program, why now, and what you want to do in the future with this degree. Please do not assume that your reviewers will make any connections for you in your statement. So that's why it's important to be clear. If there's something that you want to tie together, please do, so that it is very, so that whoever's reading it understands that and doesn't have to make any assumptions. So the personal history statements. This is a perfect place to enter things like how you have overcome barriers to access higher education. Make sure to provide any context for any gaps or inconsistency in grades and test scores. Life is not linear. You don't just kind of start off in a line and then go forward. There's ups and downs, peaks and valleys that every human being deals with. So if perhaps, your junior year, you had to take a leave of absence or had to take care of a sick parent, a sick relative, or you were sick yourself, and then, it had an impact on your academic career, make sure to let us know. Um, Let us know how you have come to understand barriers by others. So say you had a really good, not problematic, no barriers kind of access to higher education. That's great. But how have you seen your peers or other family members deal with barriers, issues that come up for them? How have you helped? How has that inspired you to do any kind of work in this field? Um, Also, any academic service that you have engaged in to advance equitable access to higher education for women, racial minorities, or other individuals from historically underrepresented groups in higher education. Maybe you in the past, I have had students who have worked in, Navajo reservations or have gone to the inner city in Chicago and, tutored or helped or been volunteers for after school programs, things like that that are relevant. And also, you can include any research that you've engaged in that's focused on underserved populations or related to issues of inequity and inequality, or any leadership you've had among such groups or outside of those groups. That's totally important. How are you as a leader? But most of all, make sure you reflect and express on any key experiences that have prepared or motivated you to pursue graduate school in this field of engineering. Um, it's important to highlight your passion, maturity, focus, and your strong motivation. And it's important to do it in 1,000 words or less. And very, very important, the personal history statement should not just be a duplicate of your statement of purpose. There's a lot of overlap, but these are two kind of separate things that you should see as personal history statement is kind of a context to your past, how you're doing, how you came to this decision. And then the statement of purpose will be kind of more task heavy in terms of like goals and what you want to achieve with this degree. So, statement of purpose also 1,000 words or less. So, everything in this essay should be directly relevant to becoming a successful student at UC Berkeley in the Mass E program. So, anything relating to coursework or any field work you've done or any work in the industry you've done, make sure each statement has a purpose. So again, concise. Don't just add words to meet 1,000 word count. Make sure that all the words that you use count and tell the story either in your statement that you want to be told, either in your statement of purpose or your personal history statement. Then how does each sentence contribute to your candidacy for admission into this program and the area of concentration you're applying to, right? So what do you want to do with an AIRC or whatever concentration you're wanting to engage in? In terms of the prompt for the statement of purpose, again, I'm going to repeat this a lot, 1,000 words or less. Your statement of purpose should describe your career goals, and how this program will help you meet your professional aspirations. So if you're entering the field, tell us about the engineering interests and skills you want to acquire for this program of study, and what you will do once you acquire these skills, right? How do you plan to use them? In what way, in what field? Um, to what goal do you want to gain these skills and then use them? And then also describe how you hope and expect to contribute to improving engineering in your future professional endeavors. So, a lot of our students are already in the industry and they find that they need more education or an advanced level of education to kind of help them break through that glass ceiling or to gain skills that will be beneficial to them and their team as they progress in, whatever industry they're in. So in terms of the prompt, make sure you're explicit in addressing the following. So this is for the statement of purpose. What in your background history, training, and or experiences, personal or professional, academic, has led you to pursue this graduate training and or a career in engineering? What are your eventual career goals in the engineering profession? Why do you need a master's degree in engineering? And then why now? What is it about fall 26? Or honestly, what is it about the moment you're in your life right now? What is kind of the next step for you? And then why are you applying to this specific degree and program and area of concentration? How will you take advantage of this intensive, fast-paced program? It's fast-paced, but it's also flexible. So it just depends on how many courses you decide to take. But in terms of, it's all up to you. And it can be intensive and fast-paced if that's what you choose it to be. And then why Berkeley? What is it about Berkeley that is calling to you? Be specific about why Berkeley and why the Mass E program would be a good intellectual fit for you. Some overarching points. Each statement, again, for the 1 millionth time, should be within an approximately 1,000 words. So, if you want to do with 1,050, that's fine. But also keep in mind that the reviewers are going to be reading, probably 50 applications right now. Our program is small, but you want to make it as easy for them as possible. And also make sure that your writing is concise because that is a skill that is going to help you not just in an application, but moving forward. How do I condense my writing so that it hits the points without being verbose? Um, so that's why it is up to you and to your advantage to keep your statement clear, concise, and relevant. Use that 1,000 words as kind of your framework and say, maybe you want to write everything down and then get to 1,500 words, but then you edit down to make sure that what you're saying is relevant, concise, makes sense, and speaks to your true story on both ends, statement of purpose and personal history statement. Again, do not assume that reviewers will make connections for you in your statement. So earlier on, I said, in terms of any gaps in your academic career, say you were on a 3.5 GPA track, but then you got sick or somebody got sick or something happened that kind of created a gap or something that needs to be explained in your academic history. Um, don't assume that because, oh, you said I was sick or my grandma was sick or something like that in your personal history statement that they will make that connection to your person, that to your statement of purpose. So be very clear, explicit, um, professional. Make sure it all kind of makes sense. And then because of that, you will be creating different iterations of these documents. So make sure to check and revise for formatting and spelling, as well as it is super useful to help to plan for 2 to 3 other people to provide feedback on drafts as well. So it's happened to me. You have your eyes on a document for days and days and days, and you kind of can't see the forest for the trees. So it's a great opportunity to ask your friend, ask a colleague, ask, I don't know, a sister or a brother, somebody who has a good eye for editing to review and give you feedback on your draft. So, maybe they can say this needs to be clear, or maybe this is too much, etc. We just want, again, for you to be clear, concise, and as efficient as you can with 1,000 words. And again, make sure to include any experiences or circumstances that have an impact on your candidacy as an applicant. Sorry, any of these experiences and or circumstances that have an impact on your candidacy as an applicant, but aren't directly connecting to your pursuing graduate training in engineering should be included in your personal history statement. So any contextual background that you want to include, that's your personal history statement. But anything that's directly related, an experience that is directly related to your career goals in engineering is more appropriate for a statement of purpose. So, you could say, when I was 13, I went to, I don't know, I saw the Hoover Dam, which is an engineering, novel thing for its time. That would be a contextual thing. But then if you say, because of the Hoover Dam, I, decided that I wanted to work on sustainable, engineering kind of construction or something like that, that would be a statement of purpose where you include your career goals, right? Personal history statement is all that context behind you, who you are as a person, how you connected to this discipline, and then their statement of purpose is, boom, this is the degree I want because of this. I want to be at Berkeley because of this. I want to, concentrate, have this concentration because of these specific goals. So that's kind of, there's a lot of overlap, but there is a distinction between both of them. And I think that's it. So these are my overarching points again. So I would say anything that gives context about who you are and how you came to this discipline, and maybe anything, like I said, any gaps in your education, not education, but maybe in grades, or you could have taken a year off or something like that. That's more of a personal history statement thing. You're the first in your family to go to engage in graduate level courses. That's a personal history statement, but a statement of purpose is more of a roadmap, an outline to the curriculum itself, to the subject matter itself, what you want to gain and how you want to use that training for for your future goals and, career, industry, startup, whatever. But that is kind of what separates a personal history statement from a statement of purpose. So thank you so much. That concludes the essays portion of this session. Um, thank you.